Ever felt defeated as a parent? The endless days of emotional meltdowns, the I won't listen to you moments, those little rebellions that make you want to pull your hair out, their sudden outbursts that leave you feeling helpless, or those moments when they act out, challenging every ounce of patience you have. That was me, feeling clueless, drained, and on the brink. But then, one book turned everything around. How to Talk So Little Kids Will Listen by Joanna Faber and Julie King. It wasn't just another parenting guide. It was a game changer and a lifeline. In this video, I'm about to summarize those game-changing tools from this book that turned my parenting chaos into sweet victories. By the end, you might just discover the parenting compass you've been searching for. 1. Always take care of your children's feelings first. Tools for handling emotions. When kids don't feel right, they can't behave right. Addressing their emotions should be the first step to gaining their cooperation. All feelings can be accepted. Some actions must be limited. If we don't validate their feelings first, children will be deaf to our best explanations and earnest pleas. Here are the tools for handling emotions. Tool number 1. Acknowledge feelings with words. When your kid says something negative and inflammatory, following these steps. 1. Grit your teeth and resist the urge to immediately contradict him. 2. Think about emotions he's feeling. And 3. Name the emotion and put it in a sentence. Examples include, "Boy, sounds like you're really angry with your little brother. Something your brother did really annoyed you. Sounds like you are disappointed about pancakes for breakfast. You are in the mood for something different." Try to match your words and tone to your child's emotions, and feel free to be a bit dramatic. Naming the emotion is very important because children depend on us to name their feelings so that they can find out who they are. If we don't, our unspoken messages, "You don't mean what you say," "You don't know what you know," "You don't feel what you feel," "You can't trust your own senses." Children need us to validate their feelings so they can become grown-ups who know who they are and what they feel. Tool number 2. Acknowledge feelings with writing. For example, if your child is eager for a toy and it's not the right moment to purchase it, try saying, "You really want that Lego set? Let's write it down on your wish list." If you ran out of cookies and your child insists on having one, you could either draw a cookie or write cookie on paper and say, "Oops, we're out of cookies. Let's create a shopping list." Tool number 3. Acknowledge feelings with art. Sometimes words written or spoken are not enough to express a strong feeling. You could encourage your child to convey his feelings through art. Some examples include, "This is frustrating. You don't like the trains coming apart. Let's draw how you feel. I'll have a paper and crayons for you so you can draw me a picture of how bad school is." Tool number 4. Give in fantasy what you cannot give in reality. For example, if your child is adamant about having a bunch of candies, you may say, "Candy tastes good. Wouldn't it be nice if we could eat candy every day and nothing bad would happen to our teeth? What will we have for breakfast? M&Ms or lollipops? And how about lunch?" Tool number 5. Acknowledge feelings with silent attention. You may just sit there, listen to your child, and respond with an empathetic, "Ah, oh, uh-huh." The gift we can give them is to not get in the way of their process by jumping in with our reactions, such as advice, questions, corrections. The important thing is to give them our full attention and trust them to work it out. 2. Nobody likes to be ordered around. Tools for engaging cooperation and getting kids to do what they have to do. We have to get our children to do things, like brushing their teeth, dressing themselves, or going to bed. Sometimes we have to tell them not to do things, such as not hitting their siblings and not to throw in their food. The problem is that nobody likes to be ordered around. It's human nature. Direct orders provoke direct opposition. When we give children commands, we are fueling a rebellious spirit within them. If we can't tell them what to do, what should we do? So here are the tools for getting cooperation from your children. Tool number 1, be playful. For example, to have your child put on his shoes, you may make an inanimate object talk by saying things like, "Shoe says I feel cold and empty. Wouldn't someone put a nice warm food in me?" You may turn boring tasks into challenges or games by saying things like, "Do you think we can get your PJs on with your eyes closed?" You may use silly voices and accents when you give a command, such as talking like a robot, duck, your child's favorite cartoon character, or sing it with a song. You may play a pretend game. For instance, instead of telling your child to sit still, tell him that he's still as an iceberg. You may play the incompetent fool. For example, to encourage your child to get dressed for school, you could pretend to be silly by putting socks on their hands and exclaim, "Oh dear, where does the sleeve go? Over your head? No, on the arm? It is so confusing. Oh, thank you for helping me." Through these playful techniques, we're not just making tasks enjoyable, we're teaching children how to turn a tedious task into a pleasant activity, a skill they'll value throughout life. Tool number 2, offer a choice. For example, instead of saying, "Get in the car now," you may say, "Would you like to bring a toy or snack for the ride? Or do you want to take giant steps to the car, or do you want to skip to the car?" Remember, don't frame a choice as a threat, such as, "Do you want to get in the car now or stay here by yourself?" Ensure both options are pleasant. Tool number 3, put the child in charge. People of all ages yearn for autonomy and independence. Sometimes it's beneficial to let your children take the lead. You can define the job that needs to get done and let your child to be in charge of the details. Delegate. For example, if you find yourself arguing with your child every morning about whether or not he needs a jacket, you may make a temperature chart for your child to decide what to wear for school every day. Or if getting your child out of the door for school is a challenge, let your child be in charge of time using visual timer and say things like, "Would you set the timer and let us know when it's time to leave?" Tool number 4, give information. Give your child information, then he has a challenge to figure out for himself what to do. For example, instead of saying, "Stop banging on that keyboard, you're going to break it," try give information. Keyboards are delicate. All they need is a very light touch. Instead of saying, "Get your seatbelt on," or "I'm not driving you to your friend's house," try give information. The law is everyone has to be belted in before we can drive. Tool number 5, say it with a word or gesture. Trust that your child knows what to do. You are simply offering a reminder. Just be sure to use a noun, not a verb. Tool number 6, describe what you see. Sometimes a single word is not enough. Combining a feel while sticking to a simple description without irritating commands or accusations might make your child more willing to help out. For example, instead of saying, "Don't walk away and leave your jacket on the floor. I'm not going to pick it up for you," describe, "I see a jacket on the floor." Tool number 7, describe how you feel. As parents, we expect ourselves to stay calm at all times, but that's not always realistic. After all, we're humans, not robots. In fact, it can be beneficial for a child to know what another person is feeling. Kids need to know when their parents are frightened, frustrated, or angry. It's hard for them to figure out what's going on when our words don't match our emotions. When you describe how you feel, you are not only providing your child with important information, but also demonstrating a vocabulary of emotions that they can use when they experience challenging emotions. But remember, when expressing anger or frustration, use the word I. Avoid the word you. For example, "I don't like food thrown on the floor." Tool number 8, write a note. For instance, if you want your child to wear his helmet before biking, you may attach a note to your child's bag that reads, "Put me on your head before riding. Love, your bike helmet." Tool number 9, take action without insult. If none of these tools works, you may take action without insult. For example, if your child refuses to wear his back helmet despite your playfulness, choice, and information giving, you may say, "I'm putting the bike away for now. It seems you don't feel like wearing a helmet today, and I can't allow you to ride without one." If your child can't resist throwing gravel in the park despite your great efforts to stop him, you may say, "We're heading home now. I don't want anyone to get hurt by a stone, no matter how small." Here we're not scolding or accusing our children. We're describing our own feelings and actions, enforcing a limit or stating our values. 3. Replace punishment with more peaceful, effective solutions. Tools for resolving conflict. When it comes to discipline and resolving conflicts with your child, punishment often backfires. Instead of focusing on punitive measures, we should consider how we want our children to address disagreements. Do we want them to think about retaliating, or do we hope they'll ponder solutions to the issue at hand? The latter, of course. So here are the tools you can turn to when conflicts between you and your child arise. Tool number 1. Express your feelings strongly. "Hey, I don't like to see people being pushed. I see a boy on a fence and I'm afraid he'll get hurt. That made me very, very scared." By expressing your feelings strongly, you can avoid the command, character attacks, threatening, and all those things that may cause natural resistance from your child. Tool number 2. Show your child how to make amends. The quickest way to change a child's behavior and attitude is to get him involved in fixing his mistake. The best way to inspire a child to do better in the future is to give him an opportunity to do better in the present. Making amends helps him feel good about himself and helps him to see himself as a person who can do good. For example, after your child pushes his younger sister, causing her to cry, you may say, "Your sister got scared when she was pushed. Let's do something to make her feel better. Do you want to offer her some apple slices? Or do you think he'd like to play with your sand bucket?" Tool number 3. Offer a choice. For example, when your child repeatedly cuts in line for the slide, disrupting other kids' play, you may say, "We're going to give the slide a rest for now. I can see you're in no mood to wait for a turn. You can swing on the swings, or you can dig a big hole in the sand. You decide." Tool number 4. Take action without insult. If your child continues to pose a hazard to himself and others, you may have to take action. For example, after noticing your child tossing his blocks throughout the house, you may say, "I'm putting the blocks away for now. I can't allow throwing. I'm too worried about broken windows and broken heads." When your child is hitting his younger brother, you may say, "I'm separating you from your brother. I can see how angry you are and I don't want either of you get hurt." Here, we give the child a very clear message that we're not acting to punish, but to protect the child from harm, to protect others from being harmed, to protect property, and to protect your own feelings. Tool number 5. Try problem solving. One of the keys to successful problem solving is choosing the right moment. It can be done when emotions are running high. After the storm has passed and things have calmed down, invite your child to join you for a discussion. Problem solving involves several steps. Let's walk through these steps using a straightforward example where your child doesn't want to be held and prefers to run around in the parking lot. Step number 1. Acknowledge your child's feelings. "I can see that you don't like your hand held in the parking lot. You'd rather be free to run." Step number 2. Describe the problem. "The problem is I worried about cars hitting children in the parking lot." Here is where you can talk about your feelings or other people's feelings. Step number 3. Ask for ideas. "How can we make sure you can walk in the parking lot safely next time so I don't worry about cars? Any ideas?" You may use paper and pencil and write down all ideas, no matter how outrageous. Step number 4. Decide which ideas you both like and cross out the ones that neither of you like. Step number 5. Try out your solutions. If it doesn't work, you need new ideas. The beauty of problem solving is that, unlike punishment, it offers endless possibilities. Instead of thinking, how can I control this child? We should view our children as teammates and engage them in the problem-solving process. Collaborating allows you and your child to craft solutions that benefit both of you. In times of conflict, instead of putting your energy into fighting each other, you and your child can collaborate to find a solution that honors everyone's needs. Please also remember, you don't have to wait for a problem to occur in order to use problem solving. You may plan ahead to avoid the problem whenever possible. For example, consider packing snacks or toys for long car rides with your children, as they tend to misbehave when they get bored. When addressing conflicts, besides using the tools, it's crucial to keep the following 2 things in mind. 1. Offering rewards can act as a form of punishment due to its inherent threat. While it suggests to the kid that you can have this wonderful reward if you do as I say, it also implies that you can't have this wonderful thing if you don't do as I say. This is not to say that incentives should not be used. For example, instead of saying, if you brush your teeth, then I'll read you bedtime stories, you may say, as soon as we get our teeth brushed, we can have bedtime stories. See, here we replace statements that, if you do this, then I'll give you that, with information. 2. Don't use time out as a punishment, but use it as a taking a break. For example, when you notice your kids fighting, you might intervene by saying, we need a timeout so nobody gets hurt. Quick, Thomas to the kitchen, Jenna to the living room. When your child's actions upset you, you may say, I'm getting frustrated. I need a timeout. I'm going to my bedroom for a few minutes to calm down. This kind of timeout is intended to protect, not to punish. It's a way of letting children know that sometimes we need to take a break before we can solve a problem. 4. Caveat. Finally, a caveat to consider is that there are certain conditions under which the tools may not be effective. These include when a child is hungry, hasn't had enough sleep, needs recovery time, or feels overwhelmed. If any of these conditions are present, address them first before turning to the tools. If nothing is working, you may have to reconsider your basic expectations and ask yourself whether my child is developmentally ready to act as I expected. For example, we can't expect babies to keep their fingers out of electrical outlets. Wrapping up, always remember that parenting comes with its fair share of challenges, but the tools we discussed today can truly make a difference. And here's something to keep in mind. The good thing about being a parent is that if you blow it the first time, you almost always get another chance. So stay patient, stay positive, and keep learning. Thank you for joining me today, and if you found this video helpful, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more insights. Until next time, happy parenting.